Kahala, Yahweh, Bashem, Shai, Bashem, Rakal, Kodash. Double honor to my teachers, the apostles and elders of the great millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, where the house of David be born again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, who before losing their true heritage were known as the Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the failing economy here in Babylon the Great. But let's read this first. This is James 5:3. Your gold and your silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. So I'm gonna leave it at that. This is the downturn which is coming upon Babylon the Great, which is what America is known as in the Bible. This is just some of the latest bad news that Babylon has had. Let's read it. It says, homeless U.S. students populations highest in more than a decade. So you see, this American dream of getting an education and making a decent living is now, for the most part, it's starting to fade away more and more. And a lot of people, I know this, but there really isn't much else you can turn to. Some people take trades, but for the most part, the economy is just not there anymore. And this is just some of the curses that are coming upon Babylon the Great, America, because the economy is now on a downward spiral, and these clues which the economies are in trouble are going to just keep surfacing. This is just one of the I guess you could say symptoms for it. But let's go and read the article and see what it says. It says, the number of students in the U.S. is the highest in more than a decade, according to a new study. Most of the 1.5 million homeless children stayed with other families or friends after losing their homes. But 7% live in abandoned buildings or cars, the report by the National Center of Homeless Education showed. Homelessness is often caused by job insecurity, unaffordable housing, domestic violence, and recently the opioid crisis. And you see that right there? These are the curses that are well known amongst our own people, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, the Israelites, right? Because these are the curses that we were under. Now, this is starting to permeate to these other nations now. And why is that? Because in the Bible, the curses which the nation of Israel is under will eventually start shifting over, and more likely it's already shifting over, as the apostles have said, right? That the curses are now starting to fall upon the other nations. It tells you here in Deuteronomy 30:7, and Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, thy power, will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. So now that more Israelites are waking up, you're starting to see the Lord starting to bless us, and this is also the downturn of Edom's empire. So you're starting to see the curses start falling upon them more now, right? This isn't just Edom; it goes for Moab, who are the Chinese, Ammon, who are the Japanese. Ultimately, all the other nations are starting to get curses upon them. You got the Hamites with the locust plagues. Edom being burnt up over there in Australia. Just things going crazy around the globe, right? And it's because ultimately more Israelites are waking up. Let's go and continue with what this says. It says, living without a fixed address has a serious impact on children's education and health. Less than a third of homeless students were able to read adequately, and they scored even lower in mathematics and science, and the report showed. Homeless children are in a crisis mode, and because they don't have the luxury of focusing on school, they often fall behind. Amanda Clifford of the National Youth Forum on Homelessness told the BBC. The most recent data was recorded in 2017-18 that was more than double the nearly 680,000 homeless students reported in 2004 and 2005. So you see, so these curses are starting to get ramped up on people, right? So you're starting to see what the outcome of these curses upon these people are. It's where you're starting to see these riots, and you're starting to see people uprise against the government, demanding more because they're, being charged more, right? This is where you're seeing all these riots started come into place, right? It started all the way back at the Yellow Vest riots in France, right, which are still going on to this day. Then it kind of spread. I think the Arab nations, they had a bunch of riots, and it's still going on today. But what's happening is that a lot of these riots are now being hushed up because of the fear of the viruses that are coming out now. But this is all biblical, as you can see here, and it says 2 Ezra 15 and 16. For there shall be sedition amongst men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So these people who are currently, rioting and ultimately going against, what their government wanted. You got people in Hong Kong, the Latin American countries. You got the Southeast American or Babylonian countries, rioting against recent gun right laws. You're starting to see sedition amongst the people, and they're starting to wake up, and they're starting to turn against their rulers, right? Just like it tells you how they would before the Lord would come back, right? Sedition means to rise up against the government. This ultimately is going to lead to the prophecy of martial law and what's known as Jacob's trouble in the Bible, recorded in Jeremiah 30 and 7. And this ultimately, after we go through like the martial law and the massive riots, you're going to ultimately get I guess you'd call them FEMA, they're called FEMA camps, but they would be probably known as government, I don't know, like welfare centers where you would go to get vaccinated from the coming plague, or where you would get, supplies for food because stores have shut down, right? So, but ultimately they would be, what we would know today as FEMA camps, right? And when you go there, this is ultimately where they would want to chip you. But I want to read this. This is Jacob 30 and 7. It says, Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it, right? Because you see, even though we're going to be going through some crazy times, you're going to see massive civil unrest, you're going to see martial law, you're going to see some crazy things which have not been, seen on TV before happen, right? But they're going to be a remnant of the Negros Latinos Native Indians who are going to be able to live through this and tell of what they've seen, right? Now, ultimately, through this events we're about to go through, the famine, the pestilence, plagues, the coming, war, there's going to be about 2/3 of Israel wiped out. And it tells you this in Zechariah 13 and 8, that 2/3 of the Negro Latino Native Indians will not make it out of this. Right? Well, close to that, but by the time that the Book of Revelation played out, 2/3 of the Negro Latino Native Indians, of the Israelites, will be wiped out. That ultimately means, though, that 1/3 of Israel will be left behind to come back down to earth and restart humanity, right? And that's what when it tells you in Revelation that John's seen New Jerusalem coming down out of heaven. It's ultimately going to be the Negro, Latino, Native Indians, 144,000 plus the 1/3 of every Negro, Latino, Native Indian on earth who were chosen to be saved to restart humanity with, right? And these people you see here will be the next rulers of the earth, along with our Lord, who will be ruling here with us, right? And we're going to be having the world under a righteous leadership. So ultimately, hopefully, I was able to touch upon that. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. But until next time, shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kwakwadash, the wonders, my teachers, the apostles, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.